Hi. 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 Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm joined here by Rajan.
Yeah, hello. Your boy got bodied round one of this MSS by my friend Bernard. So with my bye for round two, I will be joining Tito this round. Do not worry, I did not see a team sheet. I am as fresh as you all are.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and go on to that here. I think they're going to go ahead and start here. So we got Jack and Jeremy Gross both, and no, it's this now. So Jack and Jeremy Gross both undefeated here.
At 1-0.
At 1-0.
My friend.
1-0, my friend. So, okay, so here we go.
I mean, cancel the second.
Yeah.
Not be cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we see Jack is bringing Coco, Faramosa, Excadrill, Clefairy, Tyranitar, Salamence versus Jeremy's Lando, Incineroar, Metagross, Coco, Cresselia, Amoonguss. As we see, Jack's team is substantially more offensive than Jeremy's team is, which seems to rely on defensive synergy to make pivots, but Jack is rocking the Tyranitar Excadrill to get the speed boost from Sandrush, rocking the Faramosa, which we don't see much this format, but in tandem with the Coco, possibly a Z-move Life Orb situation, can pick up a lot of Okos, but you see he slows his team down with the Clefairy mode, which can definitely bolster the T-Tar and these Salamence. So we see a lot of some fun dancing, some fun rushing, some fun Z-moves and Life Orbs. So let's get it going.
Yeah, the Excadrill is going to be a really important Pokemon, I think, in this matchup, because it hits so many things with Jeremy's team. Yeah. But he has 2 immunities to all the moves that would be super effective. Yeah. So it's going to be really up to Jamie to kind of make those pivots. Which I think his whole team is based on these pivots. So
it also depends on what Excadrill's ground move is. If it's Earthquake versus Drill Run, for example, if it's Earthquake, then Amoonguss can't Rage Powder it away from Coco or Incineroar or Metagross or whatever. But if it's Drill Run, Amoonguss takes that like a champion. Oh, Jeremy Gross right here.
All right, so here we go. Game number 1. Jack and Jeremy, we're here. Oh, I did not spell his name.
Jeremy uses hand sanitizer before every round. There is no bacteria concerns out of him. Drop that last key. Okay, never mind. I gotta go.
Okay, have fun. Have fun. Roger wants to go play, but here we go. Game number 1 here. Jack rocking the Tyranitar at the Sandrush lead, and Jeremy here rocking double flying type, or excuse me, double ground immunity with the levitate and the flying type. So this is pretty not okay lead for Jack. Jack is pretty much on the back foot here. He can't really do anything unless this is Darkbeam Z Tyranitar, which can definitely be the case as we're seeing that a lot more often here. So that Z move can play a huge role into taking care of a Pokemon like Cresselia. It's just one of those really incredibly bulky mons taking advantage of that dark type. The Lander is going to come back. The Intimidate on both those mons pretty effective here as well. There is the Rock Slide going to do pretty negligible damage here, especially through that Intimidate, but the Ice Punch going to come through as well. Looking for a pretty offensive lead here. And there is the Icy Wind. Good stuff. Going to be able to pick up some chip damage, but more importantly, that speed drop is going to be vital, especially if Jeremy's Metagross is packing Hammer on. It's going to be really, really important. And I think the reason why Rajan cannot commentate is because he's currently in the tournament. But I think that was the rule that we made, and I totally forgot about it. So I 100% forgot. But here we go, round number 2. I apologize for that. The Salamence is going to come through with Intimidate of his own, revealing his third Pokemon is indeed the Salamence here. And here comes the Z-move, Groundium Z. And now where will it go? Round and round she goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. The ground will shake. Now through the Intimidate, depending on how bulky this Jeremy's Metagross is, it may not pick up the KO. Not even close. Oh, he protected. Sorry, I was changing stuff around. I actually completely missed that protect. That's my fault. But here we go. The Ice Wind to come through, going to do around 40% already to that. I completely missed that protect. I apologize. So Doing some chip damage off with the sand, obviously. Going to benefit the steel and ground and rock type Pokemon that are out on the board. However, with that speed drop, this Salamence is in a very dire straits here. This Cresselia putting in work. I'm very surprised at this, that the Dark EMZ is not coming out for the Tyranitar, but instead the Ground EMZ from the Excadrill really kind of going all into that speed one-hit KO kind of mentality on the Excadrill. It's so fond of. So, you know, it's just one of those things where I think Excadrill actually could run from a Life Orb, and it'd be totally okay. But you want that coverage for Pokemon like Cresselia, for Pokemon like Gothitelle. That Dark EMZ does so much damage, but here comes the Mega Evolution. And again, you go first, I go next. Tuck the arms in, it's time. Mega Evolution. The AC 130 going to go ahead and use Protect here. Not doing any real damage right there, but the Stomping Tantrum going to come through onto the Excadrill, going to do huge damage, especially with that Tough Claws boost. And that will be enough to pick up the KO, and the Excadrill goes down. So, Jeremy picking up a pretty good lead here. Jeremy, good stuff. Him, again, his team's basically built around using these pivots, switching on Intimidate, cycling in to these Pokemon that are immune to not only ground types, but really take a lot of different types of moves very, fairly well. Cresselia, incredibly bulky. Lots of different stuff coming through. Now, here comes the Tyranitar once again. Reptar on the board. Unintimidated. Never shook. But this is not Dark EMZ, so if this was Dark EMZ, this would be an incredibly good position for him, but sadly it's not. He's going to have to, but I'm sure he's packing the crunch, and obviously Jeremy's going to go and switch over to the Landorus as well, pick up another Intimidate, mitigating that damage on the Tyranitar. Now here comes the crunch. Going to do, okay, a good clean 20%, but the Draco Meteor gonna come through, a special attack. Not affected by the Intimidate, going to sharply drop it by 2. But again, here comes the Icy Wind. Just keep kicking that button because there is no real danger on the Salamence, or excuse me, from the Cresselia. Crunch will not be able to pick up the KO from that HP through the Intimidate. He's free to just go ahead and use this utility roll. Big body Cresselia going to be able to pick up the knockout right there. And here comes the most interesting Pokemon that I saw. The Pheromosa going to come through. So now, the Beauty Queen herself has entered the board. And now what is she going to do? Now we already know that she is not Z-move. We can assume that, right? You know, you could run Fightinium Z on the Z-move off of either Focus Blast or High Jump Kick or something like that for big damage, but that's probably not the case. But the Ally Switch is going to come through. Switcheroo, 50-50. The Ice Beam? Ah, you see, nice switch over there from Cresselia. And popping the Berry as well. Good use of Ally Switch. Saving that to the key moment. Earthquake on the Landorus. Going to be able to do big damage to everything on the board. Here we go. Tyranitar will definitely go down here, and down goes his Tyranitar. The Sandstorm will subside, but at this point it is a non-issue. Jeremy with what looks to be a 4-0 Game 1 victory here. Pretty dominant here. This matchup seems not the best here, but the U-turn going to come out. Jack not going down without a fight, doing an obscene amount of damage. Pheromosa incredibly strong. But the Earthquake going to come through and seal this up for Jeremy. In game number 1, going over to Mr. Gross. All right, right, so game number 1 going over to Jeremy Gross, the veteran player here. Very seasoned player, still a young man, but definitely someone who's been who has put in the time. So both these players are 1-0 right now. Ooh. But Jeremy going to be able to pick up game number 1 here. But here we go. What will be game number 2? What will be round number 2? Jeremy, if you guys can see from the side, did not reveal his 4th Pokemon. Now that was a lot of damage coming in from that Pheromosa. There are a couple choices of what that item could be. It could not be Life Orb, obviously. I don't think it was. I didn't see any chip damage. I could have missed it. However, it could be an Expert Belt. Could be a Focus Sash. Still. So the Landorus and the Cresselia, same lead for Jeremy, as I predicted. And Tapu Koko and Pheromosa coming in. So a little bit of a switch up, leading with the Pheromosa this time, straight into that Intimidate. So the Intimidate's going to come through, not leading the Sand Rush. Here we go. Ice Beam gonna come through, and again with the ally switch, Dazzling Gleam going to cover that option, but not really much you can do. This Lander is going to do huge damage with this Earthquake and might even possibly be able to pick up the KO. We shall see on the Tapu Koko. Absolutely big damage. Split the world in 2. The world ends with you. Tapu Koko going down. And Pheromosa only around 45-ish%. Around 40%. Tyranitar going to be the 3rd Pokemon for Jack. So we shall see. Landis going to be switched out here, and actually Jeremy changing things up a little bit. Not content with what he brought, bringing the Incineroar this game, as opposed to going for the I typed in IN, it gave me Incarnate. There we go. And the Icy Wind is going to come through once again. But now here's the problem. Now we got Fake Out Pressure, we got Fighting Move coverage. This is a little bit of a problem for Jack. Jeremy really using his team very well. Fake Out Pressure, Intimidates, a couple of immunities to ground moves. Bulky Pokemon that can take a lot of hits. He's really using this team that's really good at pivoting fairly well. And all with one Intimidator. He's mitigating a lot of damage and speed, especially with the Icy Wind. Excadrill gonna come in, which I'm actually very surprised that Jack brought it this game because of all the immunities and the fact that he has Ally Switch. But he's really committed to the strategy, so we'll see if it pays off for him. The Excadrill is going to come through, and the Pheromosa will go down. And the Tyranitar will return here, so that he's going to end with what he led game number 1 here. Jeremy going through. And here comes the rock slide once again. Double rock slide. He's looking for the flinch here. Will he get it? But he will get the berry proc. So we can only believe. Okay, the crest flinched. I guess that's okay. Not going to pick up the ice. Not going to be picking up the icy win here. Okay, hit him again. Click that button. We're trying to get this dub. We're trying to get this win. Ew! The crit on land. I'm sorry. Well, that was OD. Yo, rock slide coming through with the double flinch and the crit from Tyranitar. Yo. Jack just possibly brought himself from the edge of defeat, because if he's able to pick up the KO on Landorus, that may or may not be a huge problem with Jeremy not allowing that to happen, doing the quick hot switch out. And he's just going to keep clicking rock slide, and you can't blame him at this point, but that was sick. Not going to be able to pick up the KO on the crest just yet, but this is 2 flinches, 3 flinches in a row. I would be tilted. Tilted Towers is where Jeremy is from. That's unfortunate. However, he's still in an incredibly strong position, but Jack, you know, this is pretty much his only win condition. I don't believe he has a single, if he had a single target rock move, and now he's actually, since the Sandstorm has subsided, he used his major speed advantage on his Excadrill, which is what he needed in this scenario, because the Stomping Tantrum is definitely going to come out, pick up some big damage onto this Excadrill, going to be able to pick up the KO, and without that speed boost from the Sandstorm, it's pretty much a non-issue at this point. He's going to be able to bring in the Landorus, which is faster, but he's not going to be able to pick up the KO on the Cresselia, unfortunately. And he's going to get the Icy Wind, which will essentially seal the deal. That's unfortunate. Oh, no. We've all been there. We have all been there. Where you're just like, man, I thought I had it, and then I lost it. And I looked around, and I couldn't find it. The Iron Head going to come through, putting down the Tyranitar for the game, set, and match. Good stuff to Jack, getting it coming from a 1-0 victory, but he will not be undefeated for the remainder of this tournament, as Jeremy going to win with a double 4-0. Pretty convincing win, but then again, Jeremy's team is really built on the idea of pivoting around mitigating damage, mitigating speed, getting small advantages, and then piling on in the end game. Jeremy's team is incredibly strong in the end game, and that's just the way it is.